Before I make my prepared remarks, I must share with you a story that just happened to me this morning. My 24-year-old daughter, who lives and works in Madrid, Spain, called me this morning, excitedly telling me that she had had coffee with a new friend who's also American from Kentucky. Her name is Sarah, and Sarah was sharing with Malia that she was looking for something in her life, and she was sharing various things with my daughter, and my daughter didn't do an elevator speech. She did a coffee shop conversation about Unitarian Universalism. And Sarah had already texted her when she got home and said she had Googled it, and she thought, there's something here. So I just wanted to share that with you. My daughter was born and raised in this congregation, and I'm excited about that, Steve. As Reverend Dee said, I've been a member here at Countryside for over half my life. So I guess it's appropriate for me to be making my stewardship statement on a Sunday where the sermon is on our congregational history, because I've been a witness to and an active participant in quite a bit of it. While not born into the UU faith, I did not have to take a huge leap as some of you who came here from extremely different faith traditions did. As I was raised and extremely active during my childhood, teen, and college years in a liberal Protestant denomination that has quite a bit in common with ours. The Disciples of Christ Church practices congregational polity, just as we do. It does not believe in the literal interpretation of the Bible. Anyone who would like to partake of communion is invited to do so. And the phrase, no creed but Christ, is a common one. I had several Jewish and Muslim friends in high school and college. So eventually the Christ is the way to salvation part was a deal breaker for me, and I stopped attending church for a few years. After relocating to this area for a job after completing graduate school, it was a blind date with an otherwise nice guy who went to Willow Creek Church that made me realize I was ready to find a church home that reflected my values. Remembering that my brother had attended a UU church in Tulsa for a couple of years in high school, I made my way to Countryside and found what I was looking for. I signed the membership book, and the class of 1985 included current members Tom and Nancy Dempsey and Siri Lauren, so I was in good company. When I joined back then, the church building was located in the old Palatine Library on Brockway Street. The entire first floor, which included the sanctuary, church office, minister study, a meeting space, a living room type area, a tiny kitchen, and 2 small restrooms, was about the size of Atherton Hall today. Children's RE classes were all located in one large room in the basement. Stories were shared with me of the origins of the congregation, which had broken off from the Elgin Unitarian Church in 1956 with a small, intrepid group who met in a series of even smaller spaces before they experienced the exultation of a winning bid to purchase the library, and who worked hard to transform it into more of a true church home. These are our ancestors, so to speak, our Countryside ones at least. It was their vision and determination to stand together, come what may, that paved the way to make room for folks like Tom, Nancy, Siri, and me. There was a feeling of coziness and comfort there in that little church on Brockway. So it certainly would have been easy in some ways to just stay there and enjoy each other's company. Certainly easier than raising the funds to buy a piece of property and build a larger facility. But these folks had found a place to worship together, to explore their beliefs and feel supported while doing so, to be a presence in the community and make a difference, to expose themselves and their children to a diversity of thoughts, to break bread together and raise their voices in song, to celebrate their joys and mourn their losses in community. We wanted there to be room for others to be able to do all of that too, to share our bounty with others and not just keep it to ourselves, to carry on the vision and hope of those first Countrysiders. It has not always been smooth sailing, to be sure, but there have been dedicated people who have stepped forward to steer the course, to right the ship, to welcome the newcomer, to purchase the rations, to patch the holes, to set sail on new adventures. We are on such an adventure now. Not only are we in a period of interim ministry, when we are taking a deep look into where we have been and where we want to go, we are also making some much needed changes in properly compensating our highly skilled and hardworking staff and stepping up to our fair share giving to the denomination, which has provided us with so many valuable resources through the years. So, it's all hands on deck. All of us are needed to get to where we want to go. With this in mind, I have increased my pledge for next year by 20%, and invite those of you who haven't yet attended a Stewardship Cottage meeting to join the one I am hosting in Atherton Hall following today's worship service. There we can take a closer look together at the funding that is needed to sustain our church home, for those of us who are already here and for those who are searching for just such a place. I'm so happy to be on board with all of you.